They laughed when she asked for help, and the sound followed her like dust on a dry road. It clung to her clothes, to her hair, to the small hopeful space she carried in her chest. Laughter has a way of doing that, of shrinking a person without ever touching them. Still, she stood there, hands folded tight around a paper envelope, eyes steady even as her cheeks burned. The bus station smelled of diesel and old coffee, and the late afternoon sun slanted through the windows like it was tired of trying. Her name was Eliza Harper, and this was the moment she would remember for the rest of her life. Eliza hadn't planned to ask anyone for help. She had planned to be invisible, to pass through the town like a breeze no one noticed. But plans have a way of breaking when you're tired and scared and out of options. She had arrived with $27, a list of phone numbers that no longer worked, and a hope she refused to admit was fragile. When the clerk behind the counter snorted and the two men near the vending machines chuckled, something inside her cracked, not loudly, not all at once, but enough to hurt. She had asked for directions to the county office, the place where she could file papers and ask questions and maybe, just maybe, find a door that wasn't already locked. "You walk," the clerk said, smirking. "Or you don't. Either way, it's not our problem." The men laughed again. Eliza nodded, thanked them because that's what she'd been taught to do, and turned away before the tears could win. Outside, the town spread out in a low, dusty sprawl, ringed by fields that looked endless and unforgiving. The sky was wide, the kind that makes you feel small but also, if you let it, strangely free. Eliza took a breath and started walking, counting steps like it was a promise she could keep. One foot in front of the other. Keep going. Don't look back. She didn't know that someone had noticed her. The cowboy was leaning against a fence across the street, hat tipped low, boots crossed at the ankle like he had all the time in the world. He'd been waiting for a load of feed, watching the day move around him, when he saw the way Eliza held herself, straight-backed, determined, and quietly braking. He'd seen that posture before. He'd worn it once himself. His name was Samuel Cole, though most folks just called him Sam. He wasn't much for talking, not since life had taught him that words could promise things you couldn't always keep. But he knew the shape of trouble, and he knew the look of someone who'd been laughed at when all they'd asked for was a little mercy. Sam pushed off the fence and crossed the street. He didn't hurry. He didn't want to startle her. He waited until she reached the corner, until she paused and looked at the map on her phone like it might offer comfort. Then he tipped his hat, just enough to be polite. "County office?" he asked. Eliza startled, then nodded. "Yes. I think it's this way." Sam glanced down the road, then back at her. "It is. Long walk, though." She shrugged, a small motion that said more than words could. "I've walked longer." He believed her. "I'm headed that way," he said. "If you don't mind company." She hesitated. Trust didn't come easy anymore. But there was something in his voice, steady, unassuming, that made it feel safe to say yes. "I don't mind," she said. "Thank you." They walked in companionable quiet for a while, the sun sinking lower, the shadows stretching out like they were trying to touch each other. Sam asked her name. She told him. She asked his. He answered. They traded small facts like stepping stones across a river. Eventually, the quiet broke. "They shouldn't have laughed," Sam said, not looking at her. "That wasn't right." Eliza swallowed. "It's okay." Sam shook his head. "No, it's not." The words landed gently, but they mattered. Eliza felt something loosen inside her, like a knot she hadn't realized she was holding. "I'm used to it," she admitted. "People think if you're asking for help, it's because you didn't try hard enough." Sam considered that. Sometimes people ask for help because they tried harder than anyone else. She looked at him then, really looked, and saw the lines around his eyes, the quiet weight of a life lived honestly. "You don't know me," she said. He smiled, just a little. "I know enough." The county office was closed when they arrived. A handwritten sign on the door apologized in cheerful letters, as if cheerfulness could make up for the inconvenience. Eliza stared at it, heart sinking. Another door. Another lock. Sam read the sign, then checked his watch. "They'll open tomorrow morning." Eliza nodded. "I know. You got a place to stay." She hesitated again, then shook her head. "I was hoping to figure that out." Sam didn't ask why. He didn't ask for her story, though he was curious. He knew better than to pry open a wound that wasn't ready. "There's a motel on the edge of town," he said. Not fancy, but clean. I can drive you. Her pride flared, then dimmed. Pride didn't buy rooms. I can't. It's not charity, Sam said gently. It's just help. She thought of the laughter, of the way it had made her feel smaller than she already was. Then she thought of this man, offering without expectation, without judgment. Okay, she said. Thank you. The motel was quiet, the kind of quiet that settled in after the day had spent itself. Sam paid for the room without making a show of it, slid the key across the counter like it was no big thing. Eliza wanted to protest, but she could feel exhaustion pulling at her bones. Sometimes gratitude looks like accepting what's offered. At the door to her room, she turned to him. Why? She asked. Why help me? Sam thought for a moment. Because someone helped me once, he said. When I didn't think I deserved it. She nodded, understanding more than he knew. I'll pay you back, she said. He smiled again, that small, honest smile. You don't have to. Just do the same for someone else someday. That night, Eliza slept deeper than she had in weeks. In her dreams, she walked across wide fields under an open sky, and the laughter couldn't reach her. The next morning, Sam drove her back to the county office. This time, the door was open. The clerk inside was different, a woman with kind eyes who listened and nodded and explained things without making Eliza feel small. Papers were filled out. Appointments were made. Paths, once invisible, began to appear. Days turned into weeks. Eliza found work at a diner, learned the rhythms of the town, saved what she could. Sam stopped by sometimes, never lingering, always respectful. They talked about weather and work and the small joys that make up a life. He never asked for more. He never took more than was offered. One evening, as the sun painted the sky in soft golds and pinks, Eliza stood outside the diner and watched Sam walk toward his truck. Sam, she called. He turned. Yeah, I want you to know, she said, choosing her words carefully, that what you did, it changed everything. He shrugged, embarrassed. I just didn't laugh. She smiled, and this time it reached her eyes. Exactly. Years later, Eliza would tell the story to anyone who needed it. She would tell them about the laughter and the road and the cowboy who didn't look away. She would tell them that kindness doesn't have to be loud to be powerful, that help doesn't have to be earned to be deserved. And somewhere, under a wide American sky, Sam would tip his hat to strangers and keep walking, knowing that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is simply be there when someone asks.